Welcome to What Happens Next, Winemaking, Part 3. I'm Mark Stanley, author of Creating World-Class Red Wine. And we've changed our game plan. We were just going to press down today, but we decided to inoculate with yeast. Welcome to winemaking. You never know what's going to happen. You have to be flexible. Making wine is a little bit like raising a child. The French term for it is élever, or elevate. And so, like, let's say the child needs to have her diapers changed. Well, you're not going to say, well, can we schedule that for, reschedule this sometime? No, you can't do that. And it's the same way the wine is. We decided that this was the time to inoculate, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to inoculate with a Pinot Noir yeast, RC212, and we have Pinot Noir in the fermenter. But first we're going to use some GoFerm, which is a rehydration nutrient. It's not a standard complex nutrient that you put in the middle of the wine. You just use it when you're rehydrating the yeast. So what happens is the yeast, to use the analogy of a child again, it's like waking the child up in the morning. The yeast is dehydrated. And so we're gonna put it in some water. You're gonna give the child some water, and then 20 minutes later, she's gonna be hungry. So, but actually, in this instance, we're gonna feed her right as we wake her up. So I'm gonna mix in. We're inoculating 5,400 pounds of Pinot Noir, which is 400 gallons, and so I'm using 500 grams of GoFerm, which is GoFerm is a nutrient. Like I said, it's just for rehydration, and it's listed organic by Swiss standards. It's very popular today. So I'm going to mix it into the water that's in this bucket, and this particular yeast recommends 95 to 97 degrees Fahrenheit or 36 degrees centigrade. So I actually have the water at 104 degrees because when you put the GoFerm in, it cools it down a little bit. Each yeast has a slightly different profile. So I'm going to mix this in. It's going to be noisy, so I'll see you back after I get done mixing it in. Well, the GoFerm and water solution is at 99-37 degrees right now. So I'm going to add 400 grams of yeast to it. And so I'm going to add the yeast, and then I'll meet you back here in 20 minutes because we're going to wait exactly 20 minutes for the yeast to rehydrate. If you wait any longer than that, it's not a good idea. It's like feeding the child you give her the water in the morning, and then she gets hungry. The little girl's going to get crabby, but she's nice. The yeast, this is the Borg. Once they get hungry and you don't feed them, they're going to start looking for a protein source, and they start considering feeding on each other. Cannibalism. I hate it when that happens. So meet me back here in 20 minutes. I'm going to stir the yeast in, and we're going to wait.
Action.
Okay, the yeast has been hydrating for 20 minutes. We're going to put I'm going to dip into the fermenter and get some liquid must out of the fermenter and add it to the yeast solution. Slowly. That's not very much. Now this is 63 degrees to Fahrenheit, and this is, well, let's check it and see where we're at right now. Yeah, let's check the temperature, because we want to step this temperature down closer to the temperature in the fermenter. We don't want to shock the yeast. We want to be nice to the little heathens. I've got about 90 degrees Fahrenheit here, so that's good. But I'm going to add some of the liquid must to it. I don't want to shock it any more than 10 degrees. That's what they recommend. I like to be a little softer than that. Try to work maybe 8-degree increments. What did that get us? Oh, the yeast is smelling good. Oh, we're still at 87. So we can put some more in. So I'm going to get some more sugar for them. We fed them some nutrients and now they're going to get their sugar. We're getting some nice color out of this Pinot so far. So here, let's put a little more of this in. Stir it up. So once again, what I want to do is if we started out at here at about 90, so I can go down to theoretically 80, but we're at 84. I can put a little more in. And I don't know if you can see the yeast on the top there, but it's starting to, it looks like it's liking this sugar addition. You can see the foam starting to happen. Yeah. So what we're going to do, so we've just stepped it down from 90 to 82. So I'm going to wait 5 minutes for the yeast to get used to the lower temperature. We want to be nice to them. Stir it up a little bit, and I'll see you back here in 5 minutes. Let's see what the temperature is now 5 minutes later. Ooh, look at that action. I love RC212. It's hot stuff. We're still at 82. So, I'm going to put some more juice in. Wow. Nice. Like that. There we go. We're at 70, 75. I accept that. Now we'll wait another 5 minutes. This whole procedure is described on page 99 of Creating World-Class Red Wine. Yeast rehydration. Okay, before we add the yeast to this fermenter, we're going to wet the cap. Yeah, we got a little fermentation going here. We're going to make sure that the cap is wet for the yeasts. So I'm just going to do this over the whole thing. Yeah, the cap's getting drier. You can see it's fermenting naturally. That's okay. I can hear it. So let's inoculate, shall we? There's different ways of doing this, but this is the way I like to do it. Just pour it, spread it over the top of the cap. A little more. I'm not a big advocate of mixing it in. And then I'm going to go around and wet the cap again. And that's it. So the yeast is just sitting on the top and it's going to populate down nicely into the wine. Tomorrow this will just be cooking. So that concludes part 3, inoculation of yeast. We've got this fermenter all put to bed with a sheet on it that we keep on most of the time. And so what happens next will be part 4. We'll be into vigorous fermentation, and that's when it gets really fun.